Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday today. If you haven't had a chance, please go check out the latest episode of The Penwell Show, where I'm sitting with advocate Ike Khumalo. And the caption on the thumbnail is, "I've given up on Black people." The caption, the thumbnail, triggered a lot of people, upset a lot of people, and many people wanted to actually hear what Ike has to say, because Ike has been very, very passionate about the Black struggle in this country. And in recent history, with Operation Tudula, with being accused of inciting violence and rioting at some point and being arrested. And he's been on platforms. He's been on mine. He's been on the Hustlers Corner with DJ Sbu. He makes a lot of videos himself that he posts on his own social media channels. It saddens me whenever a Black activist, whenever someone who's passionate about Black people gets to a point where they feel like, now I want to give up on these people, and I'm upset, I'm angry, I'm frustrated. Because I've been there. And what we always need to be cognizant of, including myself, is to not lump everyone together. One of the reasons why I abandoned the whole pro-Black activism angle was because Black people are not one homogenous group. We are not one lump. We are so different. And because of colonialism, because of the white supremacist agenda, Black people have had to fight against forces, colonialists, white supremacy, maybe the West that is oppressing parts of Africa, to a point where there is the illusion that Black people are united. It is easy for Black people to be united against white people, in the same way it is easy for white people to be united against Black people. But once you remove that fight, the reality comes through that we are only united against this one aspect and one element. It is not unity across everything else. We come together, we fight evil white people, and then after that, we're okay. Now that we're okay, are we actually united on values? And the answer is no. I keep saying this, and I know it upsets a lot of people because of the legacies of apartheid and the trauma of apartheid, but we need to really separate and segregate Black people on values, because Black people do not share the same values. Number one, from a religious or belief perspective, there are Black people who are Muslim, there are Black people who are Christian, there are a few Black people I've met who are Buddhist, there are Black people who are atheist, there are Black people that practice African spirituality or African customs. So just from a core belief, their ideas deviate. Yes, there may be a sense of, we believe in a God, except for the atheists who do not believe in a God. But the beliefs and the practices from there are then affected by their religious doctrine, where some people believe that slaughtering animals is wrong. Some people believe that eating meat is wrong according to their beliefs. Some people believe we go to maybe a heaven. Some people believe that we are reincarnated. Some people believe that we become ancestors. Some people do not believe in that. So there becomes a differentiation just from a core belief perspective, the foundation of who you are, where you come from, why you are here, and where you are going. Then we get to political deviances, where from an American perspective, you have your Republicans and your Democrats. There are Black Democrats, Barack Obama. There are Black Republicans, Candace Owens. In South Africa, you've got Black people that support a more Western liberal leaning Democratic Alliance, which has got largely a white leadership. You've got people that support a Black, more inclusive, non-racialist ANC, African National Congress. You've got Black people that support a slightly more radical economic freedom fighters, the EFF, or the New Mkhonto weSizwe, the MK. Across the African continent, you find similar. There are Black people that maybe seem to lean more towards Western capitalist ideologies. There are some that prefer more socialist leaning ideologies that look like a sort of China, etc. So even from a political perspective, Black people are different. Then there are Black people who have received a certain type of education. They have gone to certain schools, they have learned certain history, they have been trained and conditioned to live in a certain way, including things like their languages. We differ even in languages, and a language normally comes with its own culture. Now, what happens when you've finished your matric, your grade 12, when you've gotten your qualification in philosophy or politics or engineering or accounting or law, you have been sculpted in a certain way, and it makes you argue, differentiate, distinguish yourself from certain other people, to a point where there are black people that look down on others because of their education levels. There are black people that feel that because they've read more books, or if they've read certain books, they are more knowledgeable, more wise, more enlightened about certain things than others. That is now education. Then there are black people that distinguish themselves from others based on their geography. You live by the coast. I live in the mainland. I live in mountainous areas. And for that reason, we treat each other differently. Some black people are different because of diet, the food that they eat. They are different because of colorism. Colorism is a big one in the black community, where light-skinned people look down on dark-skinned people. You find women that crave to have mixed race children, or children that look lighter. There are men that are attracted to women who are light-skinned because they feel that that is better. So we've got colorism as an issue where people are discriminated against because they are dark. A man who comes into a room dark-skinned is seen as potentially more of a criminal threat than a light-skinned person. Those are the issues that black people have. Income is another one. There are black people that earn a lot of money. There are black people that earn a little bit of money, and the ones that earn a lot of money believe they are better than the ones that earn little. This is now outside of the whole dynamic of fighting against evil white people. And black people keep trying to force black unity when it doesn't work. And we're not being genuine, and we're not being honest. And because we are not being honest, that's why we are not able to find solutions. The people that distinguish and differentiate themselves on value systems, seem to thrive and win. I make these examples again many times. We have got white Afrikaans people in South Africa who are different from white English people in South Africa, who are different from white Jewish people in South Africa. They have different values. White Jewish people can unite on values. I am Jewish. I have a lineage or a link to Israel. I have learned Hebrew. I read the Torah. These are some of the principles that we share in my community. These are the foods that we eat. I eat kosher food, as an example. They can then build and unite on that. And if you do not eat kosher, if you do not link and assimilate with Israel, if you do not visit a synagogue, if you do not make an attempt at learning Hebrew, then you are not Jewish, and a person cannot unite with you just because you are white. It's not good enough. Yes, white Jewish people, white Afrikaners, white English people will come together to fight against black people if those black people are harming or threatening white comfort. Similar thing will happen with maybe Indians and the Chinese. They will fight with each other if it is something that affects their nation. But outside of that, once you've removed that, everything else becomes different. White Afrikaners have got their own value system that if you do not abide by these values, they don't work with you. There are white Afrikaners who are atheists. And because they are atheists, they don't get along with white Afrikaans Christians. There are white Afrikaners who maybe believe in serving other nations. And other white Afrikaners don't like that. There are white Afrikaners in Pretoria who look at the white Afrikaners in the Free State as these farmers and these village boys. The village boys, the farmers in the Free State, look at the white Afrikaners in Pretoria as these city yuppies who aren't in touch with nature, who aren't really strong, who are weak, who are maybe lighter than them because they are always in the sun, wearing their khakis and working the fields and growing food for the nation. The ones in the cities are the ones that are like, we work hard, we run the banks, we run sophisticated systems. And there's a bit of a there are distinguishing factors between them. As long as black people have this false idea of unity just based on race, on a skin color, you're never going to be able to build anything substantial. The white supremacist agenda has been pushed by sinister white people and white leaders, of course, but they have been able to do that, driving propaganda in isolated white groups What do I mean? The white British, the white Germans, the white French, the white Spaniards are different groups. They can collaborate to come and scramble for Africa. It's an opportunity. But they are still separate groups. Something like Brexit, the British exit from the European Union, was white on white. It wasn't white on black. It wasn't white on Indian. It wasn't white on Chinese. It was white people wanting to distinguish away from other white people. When Russia bombs Ukraine, when Ukraine fights against Russia, that is white on white because they have different values and different ideologies on geography and how things should work. North and South Korea, the same group of Korean people who speak the same language but have different value systems. China fighting with Taiwan, same group of people, different value systems. In India, there are class levels, the caste system, where people are like, I'm more of a slave class, I'm more of the middle class, I'm more of the upper class. And even in those areas, there are people that distinguish from Pakistan, Nepal, India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, etc. They are not the same. Now, I'm not saying unity is a bad thing, and I'm not saying the coming together of all black people or all Africans is a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying it will not work if it is built on a foundation that has no substance. Being black is not a value system, it's a race. And unfortunately, because of colonizers, unfortunately, because of racism and the white supremacist agenda, black people have been oppressed, exploited, killed, enslaved by white people. Certain white people, by the way, not all of them. But outside of that, your race is just a color of your skin. I can be Christian, and a white person can be Christian, and an Indian person can be Christian, and a Chinese person can be Christian. We have a value system of all seeing Jesus Christ as our savior. I can be Muslim, a white guy can be Muslim, an Indian guy can be Muslim, and we all look up to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, as our guiding force. I could be atheist. Chinese guy could be I can keep going on and on. I earn 50,000 Rand a month. The next Indian guy earns 50,000 Rand a month. The next colored guy earns 50,000 Rand a month. Our income, our affordability, our class is the same. Yes, myself and the colored guy may have more black tax compared to maybe our Indian and white counterparts because of history and legacy and the fact that we are behind from an economic perspective. But outside of that, we are earning the same amount of money. My honors in engineering is the same as my Indian brother's honors in engineering, and my white brother and my colored brothers, the honors in engineering. We all have the same qualification. We may not have the same job opportunities, maybe because of our geography, maybe because we don't do as well in interviews, maybe we went to different schools. For example, very good example, I'm a black boy. I went to a school like Peter Maritzburg College in KZN. I went to a school like Selborne College in East London in the Eastern Cape. I went to a school like JP Boys in Johannesburg. I went to a school like Sachs in the Western Cape, etc., etc. I went to a known boys' school that has a rich rugby culture, boys' school culture, very popular around the country, and has got a great old boys network. When I go for interviews, I wear my old boys tie. It's a thing. When I get to that interview and I'm being interviewed by an old boy, whether from my school or from a school we used to compete with, I have favor over the next white guy who did not go to one of these schools because there's a cultural misalignment. I interview with a white guy, Ryan. He's like, oh my gosh, is Mr. Jonathan still at the school? I'm like, yeah, that guy's so annoying. Did you play first team rugby? No, I played seconds, but I did get one cap for the first team. We have similar values, similar culture. We can get along. He does not identify with this white guy who studied Brakpan, maybe doesn't speak English. This is an English boy. He's an Afrikaans guy, speaks Afrikaans. This guy's into rugby. That guy's into rowing. So there's a misalignment. And this guy's like, I think I'd prefer to work with Penn. I kind of get him. We can chirp. We can talk shit. We can have drinks together. We fucking come from this same school, bro. So we need to understand that values are more important than race. And if you are going to push a unity agenda, you must be united on values. The liberation movements, including leaders like Kwame Nkrumah, Julius Nyerere, Thomas Sankara. In South Africa, you had your Chris Hani, you had your Oliver Tambo, Nelson Mandela, etc. They were fighting against an evil force. They were fighting against an evil force. They were not uniting for the sake of, we are black, let's come together. They saw an evil force and they said, guys, this evil force is affecting all of us. If you look at mad cow disease, these bird flu chickens, if maybe there's, I don't know, Saudi Arabia is attacking South Africa, we will unite together against a force. That's why it's so easy for all South Africans to support the Springboks, because they are fighting against, it's not an evil force, but they are fighting against sports teams from other countries. We are not united. We sit in the stands, we high-five each other, we hug each other, we sing Nkosi Sikelel together, but we are not united as people who have different value systems, but we are united in supporting the Springboks against a team from somewhere. To assume that just because we all support the Springboks, therefore we get along, it's false and it's fake, and you cannot build on that. At least you cannot build economically. You will not let your children be with each other. Good example is certain black people, we're all black, but they don't want you to, they think your children are not good enough for their children. They don't think you are educated enough to be in their circles. They feel like, your wealth is disgusting and it's crass. And they would rather be with more humble people because we are different. And the conversations I've had with people like Ike Khumalo, I've had with DJ Spusiso Liope, conversations I've had with Sis Papa no Pasha, conversations I've had with Dutibo Khokibine have been around this thing. Some of us want the black nation to be uplifted and empowered, but we do not agree, we do not share those ideals with others. The next black person is not trying to uplift all blacks. They are trying to uplift themselves and become rich and successful on their own. They are trying to uplift their family. They are trying to uplift their community. They are trying to uplift their church. They are trying to uplift their tribe. They are not working for all black people. And again, you can remove white people from this. There have been tribal, cultural land wars in Africa before white people got here. So we mustn't pretend like there was a Disney movie where all black people were hugging around a fire and singing. There were clashes, there were wars. It's just human nature. White people, Asians themselves have had wars. We speak about the Mongolian Empire of Genghis Khan. We speak of the British Empire. We speak of the Roman Empire, the Ottomans. People have been fighting. Russia and Ukraine is now. It is not years. It is white people now fighting over land and territory and ideologies. It's happening now. So my wish and my plea is not to say, fuck the black agenda, fuck black unity. It's bullshit. It's for people to understand that black people are not the same. They should be segregated per values and then build according to those values. And they must not be hoodwinked into a black agenda by people who are convenient in talking about it so that they can exploit you. I love South Africa, my country, my badge, says a president, and then convinces young, ignorant, naive soldiers to go and fight and die for a country that the same president, if ever shit goes bad, they will run away to a foreign country to go hide. They won't fight and die. You must be very careful. There are lots of politicians that run this pro-black agenda, not because they care about the black nation, but because they care about their own interests. And where possible, they'll do little initiatives that make it seem like they're doing something progressive, but they're not. You need to look at their lived reality. You need to look at where they live. Are they living amongst the people they claim to represent? You look at where they spend their money. Are they spending their money with the people they claim to represent? You look at where they send their children to school. Are they sending their children to schools that are with the people they claim to represent, or schools that teach the ideologies they claim to espouse? Are they literally living what they claim to preach? Or is it convenient to preach that, but then they live a different life? That means they are using the people they claim to represent. Simple as that. And once you can pierce through whatever they are saying and get to the substance of a man, everything becomes clear. Similar to pharmaceutical companies and doctors. Yes, they'd like you to be healthy and whatever, but the bottom line is the so-called healthcare industry in the world is about making money from illness. Making money from illness. Making money, number one, from illness. It could be from a broken car. It could be from teaching kids. Those are other businesses, but this one is from illness. They make money, and the money is the number one. If they cannot make money, the industry does not exist, even though there is illness. And when they are not making money, sadly, it has been proven that they will find ways to bring illness so that they can make the money from it. But they pretend to be these noble. Let them be noble and treat patients for free. Let them be noble and say, no, I don't need to get paid. I will just, they will not. They will not. Yes, they'll argue, no, but everyone has to eat. My kids have to. We understand. Shame, we understand. Be honest about that, but then similarly be honest that, look, I charge, bro. I'm going to charge. I'm going to give you all the meds. I'm going to give you all the blood tests because I'm trying to make money. Yes, I want you to get better, but I also want to make money. I'm not going to help you get better if I'm not making money. You can go somewhere else because that's how it works. But political leaders, a lot of religious leaders, your pastors, your priests, some of them who preach about the evilness of money, they've got a congregation that is based in a very poor township. They collect tithes, but they live in suburbia. They do not live amongst the people they preach to. They do not volunteer in the communities where their churches are based. They are isolated far away there in their ivory towers. Traditional leaders, kings, chiefs, who have supposed royal subjects that are living in poverty and misery and disease and struggle. And they there, everyone cowers down. All the clan names. That person is up there, walking around like a god. Right after bowing to that person, right after they use you bowing down to them to hustle their own money, you then have to get up, dust your knees, get your little dirty bag, go catch a train, go catch a taxi, and then drive, go to a big city, live in a shack so that you can go be a garden boy, a domestic worker, a security guard to feed your family. Your king, your chief does nothing for you. Nothing. They don't give you seeds to plant. They don't give you livestock to breed. They don't give you building materials to build a house. They do not give you job opportunities. They are not building schools to pass on skills to your children. Nothing. They will tell you, we give you land. It's not their land. Number one, land is free for everyone. Land belongs to no one in the real nature of the world. But specific to kings and chiefs, that land, they are meant to be the custodians on behalf of the people. The land is not theirs. The land belongs to the people, and they are just meant to be the caretaker. That's all. But now we worship them like gods when they do nothing for the people. Again, you look at the lived reality versus what they keep saying. And sadly, out of all the nations on earth, it seems black people are just at the lowest level from a thinking perspective to not see through this. And those of us who speak about it, speak out on it, criticize it, are accused of being sellouts. We are accused of being colonial puppets. We are accused of forsaking our heritage, our lineage, our ancestors, all these negative words, specifically by people that are fully aware that they are using this as a tool to oppress black people. And what we are trying to do is liberate and empower black people to say, my black brother, my black sister, if you find a white colored person that is willing to work with you, give your children skills, give you access to resources, give you opportunities, protect you, fight with you, live with you, that is your person. Not the random person who just happens to be black. They could be a criminal. They could be corrupt. They could be killing people. They could be stealing. They could be just because they are black, you must go out of your way to support and defend this person who would never think twice about doing the same for you. That is one of the biggest miseducations of black people where we are living. There will always be times, even for me, where I will speak up for black people when I see evil whiteness rearing its ugly head, spewing racism, spewing the oppression of black people, trying to discount the pain, the historic pain and trauma of black people. I will speak out. But that is only in that context. It doesn't mean that now, oh, therefore everything would, no, it doesn't. That's why I'll speak out against the DA. That's why I'll speak out against certain, because I'm like, I don't think these people really care about allowing black people to thrive. I don't think so. And you get criticized and called names. It's like, it's cool. But we need to rise to a higher level of consciousness. I have studied so many black heroes, so many black authors. The Miseducation of the Negro is a great piece. I mean, Lauryn Hill was inspired by it to create The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, which is a classic album. Your Frantz Fanon, he may not have been black, but he was black in spirit. Che Guevara. I mentioned some of the African leaders. You had your Marcus Garvey, your Martin Luther King, your Malcolm X, people like Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam. We've had so many black leaders and black entrepreneurs and so many. And I've kept trying to figure out in my head, where have they gotten it wrong? In South Africa, we've got the Black Business Council, the BBC, the Black Management Forum, the BMF. We've had NAFCOC. We've had African Bank, which was set up by black leaders who wanted to create a bank for black people so that black people had access to funding to push their entrepreneurial endeavors. Where do these things go wrong? And I realize where it goes wrong is this constant push for race over values. That's when you let evil people into a space purely because they look like you. And then you keep out good people because they do not look like you. And that's where we miss it. We need to rise to a higher level of consciousness. And it cannot just be what people say. My brother, do you believe in Pan-Africanism? I do, my brother. Do you believe in pro-black? I do, my brother. And then when you look at the lived reality of that person, nothing about them speaks about pushing a black agenda. I wish black people can let go of the black agenda and focus on something else. It could be a township agenda. We come from the same township. So my agenda is to put Soweto first. Soweto must get all the money, all the resources, all the skills, because I want the people of where I live to thrive. That is something. What is your unifying factor? We all live in the same place. Yes, there may be snakes in there who are going to help other people to destroy your place, definitely, but it is something. It is not just race. So if white people, Indians, coloreds come into that space, you're like, as long as you are a Soweto resident, I will fight for you. A church, we have the same religious beliefs. I will fight for you. That is our value system. But you must also prove that you also are willing to fight for the same thing. Because if you're not, then you're a snake in this church. My tribe, I'm a proud Zulu. I'm fighting for Zulu. Is the Zulu King putting Zulus first? Is the Zulu King getting us resources, getting us access to mining rights? Is the Zulu King making sure that we are profiting and benefiting from the harbor in Richards Bay, from the harbor in Durban, the ports? Is the Zulu King ensuring that Zulu people are getting skilled in agriculture so that they can work the land? Is the Zulu King opening up channels for export for Zulu people? And if the answer is no, it's like, I cannot bow down to this person. Meanwhile, the next white AfriForum Afrikaner is saying, Pen, we have got a program to learn how to farm so that you can work the land. Pen, there's this workshop that's being hosted on how to export if you have any produce. I'm going to work with this guy. This guy wants me to improve my lived reality. And they are putting together programs, opportunities, channels for myself and anyone else I believe in to go and benefit from that. Yeah, or check out the latest episode of The Panel Show with Aikumaru. Obviously, always appreciate your support and your thoughts in the comments. And let's keep this conversation going. There are many non-black, there are many white people, there are many Indian, Chinese people who are suffering from the same thing black people suffer from. They are being forced to support people that look like them, even when those people oppress them. There are many white leaders, politics, business, etc., who benefit from pushing a white agenda even though those same white people that are suffering and sacrificing for them don't get the same benefits. Yes, this white person is a billionaire, it looks cool, but you're not. You're living paycheck to paycheck. You're living in debt. Your kids don't have access to their schools. You don't have access to their neighborhoods. But you're pushing this big white agenda because this white person said so. And they're like, yeah, watch out for the Swart Gafar. Watch out for the blacks. Watch out for BEE. And you're like, I don't know anymore because Penn benefited from BEE and he started working with me. You and your white agenda, you have never given me anything. All you want is my money. All you want is my support. All you want is for me to push away black people. But I don't benefit from what you have. It's for you and your family and your little circle. And that circle includes elite black politicians and some black business people that have been created by the same people. So you're like, no, man, we're actually being used here. We're actually being used. So yeah, let me read your comments and then shut it down. Sorry, I'm not going to read all the comments, but I'll just read the ones that I think are worth noting. John Olatunji Pen, please keep on bringing Ike Kumalo to the panel show. I'm a Zimbabwean, and most of the things that man says are true. Thank you so much, John. Tulani Mtagane. Show panel, Ike Kumalo yesterday, last part of the episode, man. Damn, that guy talks, but great conversation. That's true, Tulani. Thank you. Rude Boy agreeing that colorism is a big problem in the black community. What's funny is that colorism affects all races, by the way. If you go to parts of China, the poorer Chinese people are dark-skinned. The wealthier ones are light-skinned. Same thing happens with the Indians. The darker-skinned Indians are the ones that are poorer. The light-skinned Indians are the ones that are richer. Colorism is huge. So, yeah. See here. I'm not sure who this person is. They say, man, where's your bank account to support your work? Thank you so much. I always appreciate people that contribute and donate. I'm going to be posting my details, I think on Twitter at some point today. And then, yeah, I need to sort out my Patreon. I think Patreon is probably easiest. Patreon, yeah, maybe Patreon. And then just have a Patreon account for everyone who wants to contribute. If there's another platform, then I look into other platforms for people that want to contribute financially to the work that I do. So, yeah. Agiemang, Frimpong, forget about color, just find some work. Color is nothing. Work is what makes an individual liberated. I fully agree. Mastermind, Poetisha, we are backward when it comes to the economy. Very true. It's very true, and we need to catch up. I think it was Dr. Umar Johnson in an interview who was saying, how do you catch up with someone that's far ahead in a race of sorts, let's say economically? You have to run faster. You have to run twice as hard. So when they're sleeping, you run. You have to let go of some of the baggage so that you are lighter in running with them. And you have to find some cheats and shortcuts and tricks to try and catch up. That's unfortunately how it works. So yeah. Kenobi the only. The day society realizes it's always been a class battle, then we can start building on the foundation of collective progress. So yeah. Toza Mashabalala, we can chirp. That's boy school culture, boy. Rob says we are all human, different colors. We all bleed, breathe. We are all people. Love all. Everyone will have their own attitude and beliefs. Never judge. Give all a chance. Pray all our values. It's not hard knowledge. So I don't quite agree with what Rob is saying. We mustn't love everyone. We are not all the same. There are evil people in this world. There are people that are good people, but sometimes do bad things. So we cannot just love everyone blindly. There are bad people out there. And we cannot support when people do bad things, even if they are generally good people. So be very, very careful about that. Outside of that, I generally agree with what they said. Muhlalefi, Mutsima, our slavery went from chains to, I think, brains, something like that. Brother, man, and we are blinded by hatred. We don't have any idea. At most, we are following blindly, and that's correct. So, yeah. Let's see here. Tato says King Mswati III is an interesting character. They don't go into detail, but maybe I'll go and do a bit of research on that, Tato. Thank you so much. Kubegani, NCS, man like Q, says kings are like the ANC period. And it's kind of sad because most of your so-called leaders seem to have been appointed, anointed, supported by, funded by some of the people that were benefiting from apartheid, British colonial rule, people that generally don't want you guys to win. And by you guys, I'm talking black people, but I'm also talking the poor and middle class, white, colored, Indian. They also get oppressed by the same systems. Very sadly, it's only elites that seem to be benefiting. So yeah. Master Splinter, my brother, I used to take the skills aspect for granted until I finished high school in 2020. It's like your lives and progress of it's what's controlled and determined until there was no more grade to pass to you. Oh, I'm not sure what Master Splinter is saying. It's like your lives and progress of it was controlled and determined. Oh, okay, I get it. So they're saying I used to take the skills aspect for granted until I finished high school in 2020. It is like your life and your progress is controlled and it is determined until there is no more grade to pass on to. But we don't learn the skills, sadly. So, Mpilo Mpanza, Penwell, do you think we need an agricultural revolution? In South Africa, people have created technology that allows us to grow food in dry land, yet we still import fertilizer and fuel. Does this make sense? What I'll say to you, Mpilo, is we must do anything and everything when it comes to growing our food. We must embrace technology and use it where it's best served. We must also go to old school forms of farming. We must use everything. There is so much land that is unused, unexploited in this country, and not everyone is going to be able to afford technology. Not everyone can afford to even import your fertilizers, etc. So some people need to look into old school methods of growing food. Some must use the standard status quo methods, and then some that can afford it must bring in the technology, the hydroponics, the drones, the self-driving tractors, GPS controlled, etc., etc. So a lot of work needs to be put in, but it starts with education and skills. And a lot of our kids are being kept intentionally very far away from agriculture. Every school should have a basic agriculture program, as simple as every grade maybe should have its own vegetable garden in a school. And a vegetable garden doesn't need much. The kids can have different, this week it's going to be 3 kids that are going to weed and water and manage. The next week it's another 3 kids. You can keep rotating at different times. And then plant fruit trees. The cool thing about fruit trees is you plant it once. If you take care of it every season, it'll give you food. So at a very basic level. And then for the kids that have a more of an interest, I really like this vegetable garden. I want to do more. I've created one at home. No, I don't want to only volunteer during my week. I want to volunteer every week and work in the garden. I want to start selling this food. I want to maybe add chickens. I think that would something that would be a game changer. So yeah. Deborah Olivier, a race over value, so true. Very important to figure out someone's value system, their beliefs, and their lived reality. Mpilo Mpanza, Zulus have tried doing that, but we are always called tribalists for trying to uplift our people. So senzeni. Mpilo, I don't know if that's quite true, that Zulus have tried to uplift and being called tribalists. So being called a tribalist is what it is. You know, it's part of the agenda to talk shit about others. But it's also a reminder to you and to me that black people are not united like that. If Zulu people are uplifting each other, if they're uplifting each other, as you're saying they're trying, it should be pretty clear that KZN should be a thriving economy for Zulu people, but it's not. Zulu people are migrating to Durban. Zulu people are migrating to Johannesburg to come be security guards, domestic workers, gardeners. Some unfortunately end up in crime, etc., because there is no conducive Zulu economy. We can speak about certain efforts that tried, about Itala Bank and the like, but Zulus have not gotten it right. If they were to get it right, even land like Ingonyama Trust land would be thriving like a Western Cape and its winelands. It should be thriving like a Dubai. There should be technological advancement. There should be Zulu schools. There should be Zulu banks. There should be Zulu mines, etc. But the reality is that's not the case. Before you even talk about tribalism and other groups, Zulus have not organized themselves in a sustainable way to ensure that Zulus are thriving, like arguably Afrikaners in this country, like arguably Muslims, like arguably the Jewish community. So I don't quite agree with what you're saying. So yeah. Son of Soweto, hello panel, it's me, the immigrant. Anyway, you spoke well about the issue of always forcing us to join the racial gangs, but I think that black people need to organize ourselves, irrespective of tribe. So, Son of Soweto, if you'd like to try that, go for it. Many people better than us historically have tried and failed. So, if you feel that you have a better way than Stephen Bantu Bigo, a better way than Robert Sobukwe, a better way than Marcus Garvey, a better way than Malcolm X, a better way than Thomas Sankara, a better way than Kwame Nkrumah, by all means, please go for it. Some of us are trying to find different ways. There's that thing about insanity and doing the same thing over and over and trying to find a different result. And for me, I realized that race is not a value system. Race is something that others have used to oppress others. And wherever your race is being used to oppress you, you must fight back from a racial perspective. But in terms of real life and sustainability, it has to go towards values. It has to go towards values. And I almost feel sad for people that don't get that, because I feel like they will always be behind in this journey of life where you are focusing on race at the expense of shared values with other people. Bakang Matabane, hi Pen, I agree with you on uniting based on value. However, I still think black unity can be done to fight black struggles through dictatorship. Mangopi achieved it with Boputa Tswana. So what I'll say to you, Bakang, because I think I already covered this with the previous comment, if you believe in dictatorship, go and colonize and become a dictator in your family or in your community. And then what you see in Mangope, go enact it where you are based. And then show us this thing that you claim works. Don't wait for South Africa. Don't wait for Boputa Tswana. Do it in your own family. Be a dictator and force your family to unite and build businesses and get skills. Or do it in your black community and force people to listen to you and so that you can hopefully from there then inspire other black people to do the same and then grow this black unity you speak of. Shaka Zulu tried, he got as far as a Zulu kingdom, which he had, and it's a proud nation and people love it, etc. But he couldn't get it right to go beyond to Xhosa, to Shangaan, to Sotho, etc., etc. So maybe try, maybe you'll end up with your own kingdom of Matabane, like the Royal Bafokeng, and you'll be like, this was my effort at black unity. Maybe you'll be able to unite all black people on the African continent. Maybe you'll be able to unite even black African expats, Africans in diaspora. That's on you. Some of us have looked at all the people that came before us who have tried and failed. And I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. I'm looking for a new way, a better way, a progressive way that also allows me to tap into the resources, information, knowledge of other races that are not black, but that share my values. So yeah. Son of Soweto, sorry. We are being outmaneuvered, even at work. Germans and British gang up against me and other African people just because we look like Ushala. So there must be nuances to this matter. Muhlalefi, Mutsima. For the record, we need to liberate our thinking. We aren't moving anywhere if we still refer to our fellow black siblings as foreigners and other races, our bosses from overseas. We are fighting ourselves. That's what they are saying. Bakang Matabani, we need to study how the Bafokeng royal family managed to achieve what they have done now. Literally speaking to what I was saying. They own mines, stadiums, schools, and other facilities in Rustenburg. They don't even depend on government. You can go and study them in depth, but the easy thing is that they had land, just like Ingonyama Trust, and on that land there was a lot of platinum. And they ensured that they mined that platinum and they got value for that platinum. And they took those dividends and then they built some stuff for their people. You'd hope that the Zulu kingdom would do the same. You'd hope that certain churches would do the same. Sadly, not all leaders are the same. Son of Soweto, finally, Penal, the Amahlubi royal family in Northwest is under attack through the influence of those in power. They want to access the land. Help highlight this matter, please. And I think by reading that comment, it's been raised. Thank you so much. Dexter Bartis. Why are Zulu people thriving, but Afrikaners build places like Orania and seem to have it all figured out? Very simple one-word answer. Leadership. That's all. The reason there is a school somewhere in Limpopo that has got a 100% pass rate, a very high bachelor pass rate, where the children are disciplined, where the children are neat, where the children are respectful, where the children end up at WITS, UCT, Rhodes with scholarships, is because of leadership. While there's another school in Limpopo that is falling apart, where the kids are high on drugs, where the kids lack respect, where they've got low pass rates, leadership. It is as simple as that. Obviously, we can add the aspect that Afrikaners benefited from apartheid, so they use those proceeds to move forward. Similar people could ask, now that black people have been in power for 30 years, have they been able to use BEE to do something similar and build schools and invest in the black communities, etc.? But the difference between Zulu and Afrikaans is simply leadership. When you have better leadership, you have better outcomes. This happens even with families. I have grandparents, they have children, and their children turn out differently. Same grandparents, same children. One child goes and studies to become this, they live a better life. One child decides to become a criminal, one child decides to become a drug addict. It is about leadership and what you want to achieve for yourself. And because of that, their children, those parents, come out differently. Leadership. I'm a piano groove hub. We should just unite because of our values. Humans are unpredictable creatures because we have different brains. Have a great and blessed day. Tuesday today. Yeah, have a great and blessed day. Please work hard. Take care of your health. Exercise. Eat well. Remember to love your loved ones. That means putting in effort. Don't take them for granted. Send that message. Mom, I love you. I appreciate you. Dad, I miss you, Timer. I hope you're taking care of yourself. I hope you're grand. If you ever want to talk, please chat to me. Hug your children. Kiss your children. Tell them you believe in them. Tell them you demand of them to be better, to work harder, to be stronger. Invest in yourself. Invest in your community. Penny all the black pen. Have a great and blessed day. Cheers.